Tammy not going to be here?
Is he waiting for 6 o'clock on the docket? I love these things.
All right.
Don't slip here.
I'd like to call the Ravenna City Council Committee of the Whole meeting to order. We have a few things on the agenda, not too many. First item is approval of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from June 22nd. Has everybody had a chance to review those? And does anybody have any modifications, additions to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, the minutes stand approved. The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for dispatch services. This is from Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
Yes, we talked about it at committee. We are going to take over dispatch services for the Manaway Township, possibly Hiram too. That's possibly, yes. When it was written, it did not have an emergency, or it did have an emergency clause. We talked about it not having an emergency clause, but the committee chose to have an emergency clause. As we talked about it, it is not anything that's going to happen quickly. There's a lot of work that needs to happen beforehand. But again, this is our chief and captain. This is their expertise, and I'm letting them handle this. The contract has gone over with our law director. They've worked on it, and I think this is a great opportunity for us to strengthen our dispatch department and also provide quality care. So, or quality service. Sorry, I'm still in the hospital mode. But anyone has any questions, the chief is here to.
Just for clarification, I'm confused now. Is there going to be an emergency clause? Do you want to?
Yes,
Oh,
we
okay.
still want the emergency
I
clause.
wasn't sure.
That
Okay,
is something we
make sure
decided.
make that note.
The sooner we could get this started.
Yeah.
The sooner they could start preparing and doing, there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done. Manaway's equipment is old. Okay, there's no matching it together.
No.
Yeah.
And this is nothing on our department's fault. This is how it came to us, but again, we're not going to rush it and cause any liability either, but we want to make sure it's done right, so.
Right.
Any other questions or concerns about this? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance,
Would you like this in the consent agenda?
Yeah,
consent.
I do.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a new sewer jet and Vector for the street department. This is streets and sidewalks. Mr. Harper?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this, the importance of this piece of equipment for the street department. It's about a 10-month leeway for the build. Originally, we did want to include an emergency clause to lock in the price, but A&H Equipment, who we're purchasing this through, agreed to hold the current pricing, so we do not need the emergency clause since it's 10 months out for the build.
Oh, just so clarification, we were going to put it on the special tonight because of the
Or
quote.
special, I'm sorry.
But
Thank
so,
you.
well, just again, the same question I asked
Yeah.
Ms. Michael, do you want the emergency clause in this?
We don't need to do that at this
Okay.
time.
Take note of that, too.
Thank you, though.
Any questions or concerns about this? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Consent agenda?
Consent.
Okay. All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the assessment of the 2026 tax assessments. This is from the Utilities Committee, Mr. Moskin.
Yes, this involves such things as unpaid water bills, different delinquencies that have gone through the building departments. If grass is very high and has not been taken care of, if a contractor has to pay it, if these things are not paid, then those things would be put on the taxes at the end of the year.
This is kind of a yearly thing, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Questions or concerns about this particular ordinance?
No, I just want to bring up real quick the fact that I want to make sure, I know this was brought up in the past, but the lawn care company, that they just don't drive by and show up without a warning and mow the grass. I know this got brought up a long time ago at City Council, that there were some concerns with residents that were getting their lawn mowed, and they didn't know that they were going to get it mowed because these people had mowed it before, and they just would drive by, and if it looked a little off, they would just mow it, and they were getting billed for it. You weren't here then, this was a while ago, Carmen, but Matt remembers it, and we had a resident recently that had that happen too. So I just want to make sure that the people are getting notices before they just cycle again and show up. So before they get charged on their taxes again.
My understanding of the procedure on the too high of grass is they get a letter, there's a notification, they've got time to respond.
Yep,
Then we mow it.
right.
But then if the grass gets high again, we would mow it without the notification the next time, is my understanding.
And I question that because if the weather has been odd like it has been lately, and if, they have been keeping up on it, and then all of a sudden they come home and they notice that their grass was cut, they thought it was a good deed that somebody was legit doing for them, and they found out that it was mowed by the city. They were pretty upset.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Charged for it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were charged for it, which rightfully so.
I'm sorry.
Go.
I'm okay with the procedure that we're following. Once they've received a notification and we cut it, then if they violate the high grass again, then we mow it without additional notification. And I think they're told that during the first time that they're notified. So I'm just saying, if somebody's let their grass get up to 12, 15 inches a second time,
I guess if it's a homeowner, I feel a little bit different, depending on the situation. I feel different about rental properties and businesses, but if it's a homeowner and you don't know what's going on, unless it's an habitual thing all the time, but if they've been keeping up with it, I don't know. I feel kind of that there could be a situation, and if it's not that high, there's going to be pictures, so I guess we'll look at them.
At what point, like, how tall does the grass have to be?
8 inches.
I
am I-
remember having the conversation about this.
Yep.
Was there a time in between, like, so if I get a notice, I get my grass cut, and then again the next year, I need my grass cut, am I not going to get a notice?
I think the second year, yes,
Yeah, you get a new notice every year.
So you get a new notice every year?
every year.
Yeah, now, my concern, and I agree with Ms. Michael about this, is that there's a vested interest, maybe even a conflict of interest in some ways for a third party, someone who's going to get paid to cut that grass.
Correct.
To make the determination. My preference would be that, building inspector, somebody who wrote the initial, or is empowered to make that call, do it, and then whether or not there's a notice sent out, that I don't know that that's important. But I do worry that a company that's making their living off of cutting grass, may be taking a few inches off before they make that second or third cut.
Absolutely.
So I think that's something, I think it's a valid concern. Anyway, that's not really on the table tonight.
No, but
That's
I just wanted
it's
to
an
bring it up
adjacent
since we're talking
discussion.
about putting money on
Yeah.
people's taxes.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about these tax assessments? If not, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance, consent.
Okay, the next item is an ordinance to enter into a contract with Bricker, Graydon, and Wyatt. This is from the Planning Committee. Ms. Lodato.
This is a contract that was presented to my committee last week about retaining a lawyer that specializes in data center regulations, helping us write those things, correct? And also would provide training for
Workshop.
council. There's like 2 different things going on with this
Yeah,
contract.
and if you read the engagement letter, there are 2 attorneys. Now, the law firm is a really large law firm, so they specialize in a lot of areas, but the particular attorneys assigned one of them is a specialist that deals with local government and currently dealing with data centers in other municipalities.
I'm strongly in favor of doing this because this is something that is so new. It's already presented itself as a minefield. I mean, not just for Ravenna, but literally every corner of our country. So I think that it would be advantageous for us to enter into a contract, to have people who really know what they're doing and know the right things that we need to have to protect the city's interests, that they're in there.
I will note that Mr. Semino has read the engagement letter.
He did.
And he has approved it, or,
Yeah, he told me that he didn't really see any conflict with it at all. He said it's looked like a pretty standard contract. But I did see him in Chelsea's office and had a short discussion with him
Good.
about it.
other comments or questions? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
Consent.
Agenda? All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the rezoning of Reed Memorial Library parcels to C1. Also from the Planning Committee, Ms. Lodato.
Okay, this is again something that passed through Planning Commission a year ago and is brought back up to council to consolidate residential plats into a C1. Mr. Finney, did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
This is consolidating 3 different zoning properties into one zone.
Short and sweet. Other comments or questions? We're not engaging in public comment during this meeting. Any other comments or questions from the council?
No, like I said, I had a lot of question about this, and through the advice of the attorney, he explained the questions and the concerns that I had, and I was very upfront about. I didn't understand how the zoning part of it worked and how we needed to clean the situation up of how it had been working since 2000, what, in 3?
2004.
Yeah,
Well,
and
2003 past 2004 was,
so by having a attorney who isn't our law director or anybody here explain to us what the process is in the zoning, it made it, I think, understand it much better on that, it was a more of a biased opinion on it, so I felt better about it. It made more sense to me, so I don't think it's detrimental to the neighborhood.
and it's been functioning this way for 22 years.
Any other comments? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
I'm going to ask that we not put it in the consent agenda. I know that there is some public interest in this, and keeping it out of the consent agenda would open the door for a delegation or anybody to speak on this at that point in time in the agenda. The next item is an ordinance authorizing the modification of loans made to Portage Housing 1, 2, and 3 from Community and Economic Development. Ms. West.
Yes, Mr. Bogo came and touched base with us on this. You guys all got the details on it. The total payback for the city of Ravenna was over $900,000. It goes back to, has been going back to our RLF funds. So I think that we have done well, and in talking with NDS, the city of Ravenna is a city that has done well with this and operating with this. So if anybody has any questions, I can certainly get those answered and have them back for our next meeting.
I really appreciated Mr. Bogo coming and, putting it to a fine point. Said I really appreciate Mr. Bogo coming and putting more to a fine point to the numbers, what we were looking at as far as that program goes.
Questions, concerns about this ordinance? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
Consent.
Consent.
All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing a new code chapter on self-storage facilities, also from Community and Economic Development.
So this is something that we've talked about for quite some time. We do have the moratorium in place, however, it's soon to expire, so we need to make sure that we get some language in place to kind of show where we want the city of Ravenna to be for the self-storage facilities. So thank you, Rob, for doing your research and helping out with this. We talked a lot about it last week, just about, the purpose and intent of this, the definition, what is a storage facility? It really kind of keeps it, we have nothing now, so anything's better than nothing, but it kind of outlines what they need to be doing, and goes based off a formula instead of just based off of everyone's feelings. So that's kind of nice to be able to have to compare to, so that when this does, if someone decides in the city they want to go to planning can look at said formula and use that to try to determine if it's something that we want to move forward with.
There was a question about a current storage facility perhaps expanding, and I did want to clarify, the new code would also have that requirement that any expansion of an existing would have to go through the same process as a new facility. So they couldn't just add on, since it's all based on capacity to begin with.
I also did want to say, too, I know a lot of concerns were mentioned about just the upkeep of the outside of the storage facilities. Any new storage facilities would have to follow the what's outlined in here, so that we aren't looking at, beaten up boats and trailers and whatever when we're driving down the street. So I would like to think that the storage facilities we have in town already would want to be better than that, would want to improve what they look like based off of this, but they won't be required.
Any other comments or questions? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
Like this in a consent agenda?
No.
Okay, fair enough. You don't have to explain why. Can if you want. All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of the updated premium-only plan. This is from the finance director. I know she's not here tonight, but this is somewhat of housekeeping for our health care plan, to make sure we have this language available for our employees. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about this? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance consent.
Consent.
All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with ADP Resources, also from the finance director, and this is new software. Part of the issue, maybe the reason, the trigger that might have made the finance department look into some of these new human resources type systems is the new law that we have to account for overtime that is not taxed by the new law, but then it has a lot of other features too, so. But I think that might have been the impetus to look at a new system. Questions or concerns?
Ms. Lawrence sent out a detailed email explaining and answering multiple questions on the thinking behind it, the ways in which it'll save money, the efficiencies it'll correct. And so I'm very much in support of us moving this forward.
Yeah, apparently we have some, I wouldn't say archaic, but some perhaps outdated workflows for this.
Yeah, she's doing payroll for 160 people by hand. That's, I didn't even know people did that anymore. So, I mean,
I just signed a couple of timesheets tonight.
yeah, I'm in favor.
All right, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance consent.
All right. All right, the last item is an ordinance authorizing the execution of then and now certificates. We were provided with a list of about 8 items that need certification. This is kind of a monthly thing where it seems like we get it down to 1 or 2 and then it kind of jumps up again. But these are necessary. Anybody have any questions or concerns about these?
Yes, I did have questions about the first 3 and the amounts of them and what caused them to become then and now certificates. It's a total of almost $75,000 in expenditures, and I don't know how it got to be on then and now. But I do not want to hold it up at all. I'll ask Mrs. Lawrence about it, and I think she'll be able to answer any questions that I
It's
have.
interesting, the second and third are, oh, it's
Split-
probably, well, they're split, so
Because
it's
they
really
come from different
one.
Yeah,
accounts.
so it's, yeah.
Okay.
But I can have those questions answered by Mrs. Lawrence.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions or concerns? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance, consent,
All right. We are done. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Quick. Yeah, there you go.
Record timing.
I saw the time with a little bit.